Hey guys, what's up? It's Spartacus here. So today I'm going to do a video titled How to Play Mid-Range Druid, otherwise known as Double Combo Druid. It's essentially Druid that runs 2 copies of Force, 2 copies of Savage Roar, and otherwise, the pretty standard Druid cards. So we got the Innervate, the Wild Growth here. This deck is really standard except for the Ooze. The Ooze just kind of replaces another 5-drop. You might put in another Azure Drake. Maybe you'll put in Harrison Jones instead. I think the Ooze is nicer though. It's just a bit faster, a bit more flexible. Everything else here is just extremely standard. This deck doesn't have a ton of changes made to it over time. So this is basically the deck. When TGT comes out, Darnassus Aspirant might go in here, where like the Ooze would be, and maybe you'll take out a 5-drop for it, but it'll still play the same way. So everything I'm going to say pretty well just transfers over. Okay, so today we'll just play some ranked and go through what we're doing, why we're making the plays we are, and basically just how to play this deck. So let's just queue in right now. So as with all Druid decks, basically the early game is all about your curve. You just want to curve out really nicely, be able to play drops on every turn, and just kind of take over the tempo of the board. And the idea with the deck is to take the board, keep the board, and then draw your combo, and then kill them with your combo. Obviously, it's not always that simple, but that's essentially what this deck aims to do. And then there are obviously, in each matchup, there are different things that you should keep an eye on. So, we're against Hunter. Really bad matchup if it's mid-range Hunter. If it's face Hunter, it's about 50-50. The reason why it's so bad against mid-range is because they have Freezing Trap, which is just the worst. It's so difficult for Druid to deal with. Basically, you have to have a Force of Nature and like deal with it effectively. But then it basically stops you from attacking until turn 6. And then they also have the high mains, which are really difficult for Druid to deal with. It's just tough for Druid to get the board against mid-range Hunter. If it's face Hunter, though, you can kind of race them. So they try to hit you in the face, and then you try to hit them in the face, and whoever wins, I guess, basically. So we got Drew a Wrath, which is quite nice. I kept the Shade because it's nice to have a turn 3 play. Okay. So it's mid-range. That's what that demonstrates. And we have 2 choices here. We can either Wrath for an extra card, or we can Hero Power. I'm going to Hero Power because Wrathing for 3 against like a Knife Juggler is really more what we're looking to do. Sorry about that. Okay. So what's it called? So yeah. Looks like it's going to be Shade next turn. Hopefully, are not going to get Freezing Trapped, or sorry, Animal Companion. So this is where Wrath is really useful. So Wrath will allow us to kill the Huffer, trade card for card, and not take any more face damage from the Huffer, because we can't afford to go down too low against Hunter. And now we have an excellent 4-drop to play next turn. So while it was on curve to play the Shade, as a Druid, you just can't afford to lose that much health. And I couldn't afford to take 8 damage from that Huffer there. That's pretty good for us. Doesn't have anything proactive to play, which is nice. We kind of just have to hope he doesn't have Freezing Trap. Okay, we will continue to play on curve. Piloted Shredder. Pretty good drop. Okay, not bad. He's trying to control the board, which is kind of nice for us. This turn looks pretty simple. Oh, not anymore. Now we play the Azure Drake. Before I was thinking Shade and then Hero Power, but now it's Azure Drake. This is good. We have the board. He'll probably have things to play on turn 5 and 6 because he didn't have like much to play in the last few turns. He's also had a few web spinners, so we could see some very big, kind of weird beasts. But if all goes smooth next turn, I will be playing the Thaurissan. Okay, so that's a weird beast. I don't think I can now play the Thaurissan. I think I need to kill this thing. Oh, one turn too late there with the ooze. I can go banana, ooze, and shade. Or I can cycle this. I like banana, ooze, and shade. While it's nice to save the ooze against hunters because they do have weapons, it's more important to get the body out there. Okay, so now we're curving. Continuing to curve nicely. This also doesn't play into Explosive Trap because this will get buffed when it comes back. Okay, so you kind of have to expect that a little bit. Hyman is just so good. But right now, I feel confident that we can outrace this guy, especially when putting a Sylvanas down. And I'll put the banana on here. I think we can win a race. So we're just going to go race him. Like, because hunters, here's the thing about hunter. Like, if you get the board and you can start racing, like, they are so bad at trading. Like, they're not very good at being defensive. They're much more aggressive. So if you can kind of dictate the tempo, it's scary for them. Like, he probably thinks, oh, now I have lethal, you know? So now he's trading. And this will play right into swipe, it looks like. It's an owl? No. Kill command, okay. So he's hoping that I get... But you can see, like, no face damage. I haven't taken any. Like, he just devoted all of his resources to, you know, clearing off my board, which is fantastic for me. I think, like, we're going to make this trade. It's just so good. We can, like, clear with the Wrath and the Swipe, but then we don't have anything on board. I'm going to continue to put on pressure. Because he's scared. Like, he doesn't know I don't have combo in my hand. He's at 17 health. He's going to have to continue to play really, really defensively. Because it's scary. Ow. No, quick shot. Okay. Just going to take that out. How much damage do we have now? 5, 4. Okay, 4 plus 3 is then 7. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now how much do we have? 6 plus 7 is not enough. Okay. We can cycle though, and we can just continue to hit him in the face and cycle, kind of like that. We're bound to draw Force of Nature soon. So basically, we're just continuing to be uber aggressive here, and like I don't think he can't kill me. He already used a kill command. He just can't kill me. And you can see what all of a sudden being aggressive against a hunter does. We have gotten pretty lucky this game though. No mad scientists and no freezing traps, which is basically our worst enemy. I'd like to draw my force, but I still do have this combo in my hand. And a Druid of the Claw plus Savage Roar on turn 10 is 9 damage. If you can use your hero power as well. And he's at 9. So no matter what, if he even clears our board, as long as he doesn't put up a taunt, we're good. And we also have like those two together. There's a lot of things we can kind of do if we need to get through. Hmm. Okay, so he's gonna draw, but I don't know what that's gonna do. Perhaps he's gonna draw for a Hunter's Mark, try to clear the board. But like I said, like I set up to have lethal with these two cards, so it doesn't matter even if he cleared that. But we do win anyway, so give him the old well played. So yeah, if you have the board and like they just drop a high main, like you can't ignore it because it's so difficult to deal with the high main. You have to hit it so many times, and like if you're confident you're not gonna die, make him initiate the trades. Because the thing you have going for you as a double combo druid is that people are scared. People have to play around you having the combo in your hand. So even if you don't have the combo, you can bluff that you have it and make people make bad trades and just not play to their deck strengths. Okay, next one here. Sorry, the video might be a little bit choppy. My computer has been going through a meltdown the past couple of weeks, why I haven't been putting out as many videos. Uh, but so hopefully we can get like 3 games in, and then that'll have to be it. The old computer's dying on me, but it doesn't look too choppy so far. And I got the fan roaring. Okay, so we can assume this is Patron Warrior. If it's Control Warrior, we're in really good shape. Let's just talk about the mulligan first. Mulligan against control / combo decks. Keeper isn't as good against them. Innervate Keeper against aggro deck is insanely good, but not against a control deck. Against a control deck, you really want you want to hit your Innervates and your Wild Growths, and you want like just proactive good drops. So Paladin Shredder and whatnot. Like actually, the Azure Drake is kind of worth considering because on turn 2 I can Innervate Coin Azure Drake, and that'll actually draw me another card. I'm gonna keep it. Um, if you have an Innervate and a Wild, basically here's the rules against a control deck. If you have an Innervate or a Wild Growth or whatever, then you can start to plan out your turns. If you don't have any of those against a control deck, you probably just full mulligan for them, unless you have a Shade. You can keep a Shade against a control deck. Against aggro decks, you want Wrath, you want Keeper, you want Innervate. Those are the 3 really, really good cards. Swipe isn't bad either sometimes. So yeah. So I actually have a pretty cool little. So what I can do here is I can set up a little bit. So I can go Coin Wild Growth, which gives me 3 mana next turn, into Innervate Azure Drake, and that will allow me to draw 3 additional cards before the next time I have to play a card, and in that amount of time, I hope to find something to play on 4. That's why I'm choosing the Azure Drake here. Even though it dies to some things, it allows me to draw cards. This card is insanely good in this matchup. I think I'll actually hold on to this. I'll hold on to this, and I will perhaps cycle this. I can use it to actually kill the whole thing. That's not bad. I don't need to cycle it, actually, because I have enough options. So, like I have a turn 5 play, I have a turn 6 play, and another 5 drop, and then because I have the lore, I know I'm going to be drawing more cards later. Druid is all about looking at your hand and seeing what your next turns can be. Like, what can I do next turn? What can I do the turn after that? Does that allow me to do certain things? So, yeah. So never mind. We are actually going to be playing the Acidic Swamp Hoosier. I'm assuming this is still Patron Warrior. I've seen nothing to suggest that it's not. And getting rid of the way that Patron Warrior beats you is it gets out a lot of Grim Patrons, because as a Druid you just can't deal with them. So I'm going to need to kill that. Even though it's less of that, he can play Patron, Inner Rage, and then hit me for 4 Patrons on the board. I can't allow that to happen. The winner of this matchup is whoever gets the board first. If he can get out early patrons, he'll win. If I can get the board and keep it, then I'll win. So he's running low on cards. And because he's running low on cards, I can actually afford to silence off the Acolyte. I don't want him to draw. It's as simple as that. Now, this might seem strange, but I'm actually going to hit this because I don't want him to get Battle Rage value. The reason that patrons are so good is because they draw so much. If you can keep them from drawing, then you can do a good job. There were other plays on that, but they weren't ideal either. This just doesn't allow him to... I basically used my keeper to stop him from drawing a card. Okay, not bad here. Ooh, that's a very good swipe. So, because I've already used my Azure Drake, there's no chance of me being able to use a spell power swipe. This swipe clears the board, allows me to keep this minion alive and hitting in. Thing to note against Patron Warrior, though, is you don't exactly want to attack minions all the time, but it's okay right now. Turn 8 is when they can really punish you for having 2 attack minions, and by that time... Oh! Well, guess what? It's a Control Warrior. So, I assume, usually Patron Warriors don't run that. So it looks like it's a Control Warrior here. We'll just draw. This is a very good matchup for Druid, usually. So what happens in this matchup is you just keep putting down your minions. They just keep trying to answer them, and eventually they can't answer them, and then you combo them down. The way that Warrior wins this matchup is by getting the board against you, which is very tough for them to do because they don't inherently run a lot of minions. So hopefully he won't be able to get the board. Okay, yeah, definitely Control Warrior. Fortunately, we don't have Grom here. He might be able to Alexstrasza us next turn, and then, or not Grom, sorry, Big Game Hunter. That's what I meant to say in that last one. Shredder always goes in the middle. Don't forget that. We're playing these two because this blocks. I'm afraid of Alexstrasza and then him hitting me in the face for 11, putting me down to 4 health. That's too precarious of a position to be in. We do have a Big Game Hunter in the deck, in the bottom 15 cards. Right now is the time we just want to get this board. We have these sticky minions, keep it, and then we have 2 Savage Roars, plus a swipe. So that's a lot of damage if we can have a lot of minions out on the board. It's good. It's at 4 health, which means we can actually swipe it down. Oh, Baron Geddon. Okay. A little unfortunate. Whatever pops out of here will help us out, though. Okay, so we can clear. We can clear, and we'll clear with 6 mana. So hopefully we can draw something up. I'm just wondering if there's a way to clear while keeping my, what's it called? This little guy alive, but it doesn't look like it. So he has like 3 cards in his hand, and this is what Warrior has to do. They have to be like really aggressive to like manage to, what's it called? I actually am wondering whether I can use my face. I don't think I want to take 10 damage to the face. Okay, so you draw first. Cutting it a little close here, but you do draw first. It's always the key. But there shouldn't be anything I can find. Okay, so unfortunately he has initiative, and there's no way I could quite prevent that. That Baron Geddon was very, very good. Oh, yes. So this is why Druid is so good in this matchup, because Warriors just sometimes only have answers. They don't have minions to play, and that's just not good enough. So we'll just play our second Ancient of Lore. Continue to draw cards. So he probably has like executes and shield slams, considering we haven't seen any of those yet. And now I have Sylvanas if he does play something big, which is quite nice. Alexstrasza, for example. He already played his Gromash, so, you know, not too bad for us. Ooh, Thorson. Thorson can give us a double combo, actually. So Thorson is looking like the play here. Problem is I can't... Can I? I can't kill this and Thorson at the same turn. Ugh. This is tricky. Wait, do I just win? Sorry. 14... what's 14 plus 7? 21, exactly. Right? Let me just double check my math. Sometimes you miss it, guys. Sometimes you do just miss it. So focused on crazy double combos. Perfect lethal. Okay, we'll do one more. Because we got one basically control matchup and then one aggro matchup. So just kind of go over some other things. I think I talked about the mulligans already. Kind of talked about how we're playing. It's not a hard deck. It really isn't. It's very powerful though. So I highly recommend you trying to use double combo Druid. It is a little bit expensive. One of the last decks I could actually play with the lores and the forces of nature. You really need all 4 of those cards. So those are 4 epics. I don't know. As someone who started off, like I've spent, I'm not sure, not that much money on this game, like $40, $50. So, but in my free to play days, I just remember really wishing I could play Druid. But I would say it is very strong. It's worth it if you are going to spend the money to invest in those epics, especially Ancient of Lore. That card is never going to be bad. Okay, so we're up against a Warlock. Key against a Warlock is to look at their hand. 3-card mulligan. That suggests it could be handlock. So basically, I'm actually going to take the risk and throw back the Wrath. Otherwise, I might keep the Wrath against Zoo. I wouldn't keep either of the other ones. We want ramp. But I'm going to take the risk and say it's a handlock. Especially at Legend rank. More handlocks at Legend rank. Zoo is more used to climb ladder because it's fast. Hopefully I'm right. By the way, we just mulligan into a great hand. Especially with this, because it gives us more draw. Sometimes you don't actually want like 2 wild growths and 2 innervates, because then like you have nothing to play. Like that's a bad draw right there. We'll use the wild growth. Yeah, that second innervate is a bad draw because innervate is just using a card to get out a card sooner. But if you don't have the minions, then you just run out of cards. So this handlock. This is a tough matchup, but it's like a lot of people. Ooh, that's a hell of a card. We need to get this out early. We have another innervate. It's okay to spend an innervate even though it's off curve. This matchup basically comes down to if you have that big game hunter on 4, if you have the silence for a Twilight Drake on 4, which we don't, and it looks like he's coining one out. Yeah, that's unfortunate for us. We can swipe it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use a Lotheb, I think, just to continue. Oh, no, I'm going to innervate out our lore. So, innervate out the lore. Just get those cards early. Oh, it's a shame we didn't have that. Can silence that keeper. It's really nice, or silence the Twilight Drake, but because he coined that out, it looks like there's probably another Twilight Drake coming down. And actually, I'll be able to keeper swipe. Yeah, when handlocks use the coin on a Twilight Drake, usually because they have another one. So I actually have a... Oh, wait, I can't keeper swipe. What am I saying? I don't have enough mana. But I can make these plays. There's consideration to hitting face there. We don't want to put him too low, because we don't want to worry about the Molten Giants, but we'd like to put him like around like 16, 17 so that we can get close to comboing. So yeah, that's why I don't like that trade there. The Mortal Coil gets a lot of value. But sometimes, they don't have it. Okay, so this might actually be a Malloc, based on this card here. I think it is actually a Malagos Handlock, which does slightly change things. It means that I don't have to worry about Molten Giants, basically, which is really nice. Okay. That also means, though, that Lotheb will get a lot more value in later turns. Like when I know he's setting up for something. I might just swipe this off. What this allows me to do is also play... Sorry, I'm going to play the Acidic Swamp Hoosier. Yes, I could play the Shaded Axoramus, but this is more of a... I know he has a Hellfire. This deck runs 2 of them. It runs a lot of board clears. I don't want to play my Shaded Axoramus into a Hellfire. They always have Hellfires. Never mind. This, unfortunately, our big game hunter just not going to get value. At least the value I thought it would. I really need more cards. I don't have a great hand. The problem is if I cycle and hit and play a Shade, then it's really vulnerable to Hellfire. That was a test for it, though, and he didn't play it. He might be saving Hellfire, though. It's certainly possible. So I'm actually going to make this play. What this does is Lotheb make sure that he can't Hellfire me this turn. Okay, our big game hunter will get value. Good. They usually tend to, big game hunters. Okay, so I want to make sure my board is the least susceptible to Hellfire possible. So let's run this in. Run this one in. Face. Big game hunter. So this is a play around Hellfire a little bit. It doesn't really play around it that much, but it's just, I'm so vulnerable to it. I'm really scared of that card. Thing is, he's scared of me right now because of the mana I'm on. He's got to be scared I have combo. I do have the Savage Roar, so I am setting up for like a big hit if he can't clear this board. Okay. So, we'll see. 6 mana. Siphon Soul. Interesting. Not great for me. He'll be hitting the Shade. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. That was an error. He got lucky. The Shade would have grown next turn, so I just think that was a straight up mistake from him. Him or her, I'm not gonna lie. That Shade would have been a 4/3 if it didn't die. Oh, okay, this is a weird situation, but I need more cards. So I'm gonna have to wrath my own minion for card draw. There we go. That was a great draw. If we can get that second force. So I believe that the deck we were facing, so they can do 17 damage from hand. They need to have the Thaurissan down to do that, though. There it is. Whoa, what? Am I just going to win? Does he not have a Sun Fury? He doesn't have... Okay, there's a Sun Fury. What? Do I have enough damage to win here? Let's see. Oh, wait, I got it now, right? Yeah, I do. So yeah, kind of the trouble with all Warlock decks, but more than anything, like the deck I was against, the trouble with it is that like their health is going to get low, so they're always susceptible to combo. Now Handlock has the Molten Giants and the big taunt, so they can kind of like lock you out. This particular deck does not. I think that Druid's actually at a pretty good advantage against Malleolock. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and join me. I will be putting out a video first on my impressions of TGT, what I think the cards are going to be the biggest impact cards on the meta, and then I'll be continuing to put out videos about more decks and how to play them. And things are gonna be really rapidly changing soon. So I'm gonna try and get everything out before TGT so that I know the decks I'm going up against, and it's not going to be absolutely ridiculous. But things will change after TGT, just probably not as much as everyone thinks. So anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe or comment. Really encourage me to keep putting out more stuff for you guys. And I will see you next time.